Today we're going to try to illustrate another portion of the layout. This portion is 11 feet by 7 foot 6. We'll take a look at some of the things that are stick built, some of the things that are flyer, portion of the layout is the standard AF oil depot. I modified this slightly to add a small simulated pump that is in the little shack. The line's coming out to the tanks. Adjacent to that is a bulk dock for loading tank cars that is stick built. We'll slip the lid off of this so you can get a better look at it. This is made out of your standard hobby shop parts. The fill wand lifts up the cat track over the catwalk over to the car. Is also swings up. This is also lighted. Next is a Gulf oil refinery, simulated oil refinery. That is patterned off of a Gulf refinery that was in the local area. This again is stick built. It features a boiler house that has 2 boilers, water expansion tank, steam accumulator. Comes out of that with the steam lines. Goes past the pump house for the final crude or the final refined oil. That also has a pump, simulated pump in it. Condensate reclaim tank, expansion curve in the pipeline, and the cat cracker itself. This again is all stuff you can find in your local hobby shop or out of your recycle bin. Old parts and old bottles and the like that you can reclaim, make stuff out of. Next is a standard, what was at one time the heat activated aircraft beacon. And as we know, the people that's in the flyers, these have a tendency to get damaged, and the rotating head won't rotate. The reproduced ones are, let's just say, leave a lot to be desired. I've turned this one into a weather station or weather radar. This is a plastic wiffle ball, a solid type, got a hole cut in it, and that is now the weather station and a microwave relay tower. Then we can move on to the oil well, tank battery. The yellow item is what would be a separator that separates the oils from the gases out of a oil well. Adjacent to that is the little blue box. That is what would be a meter, a gas meter, to determine the gas flow from the well into a collection system that will go to a pipeline or a gas producer. Tank battery itself, all these is piped directly to the separator and then back to the wellhead. This has simulated valves and oil lines coming out of the tanks for the pickup truck that comes around and picks up the oil from the accumulation tanks with the tank battery itself. Take a little look at the village. These are all plastic buildings for the most part. The road beds are blacktop. They are made from rubber that the commercial roofers use for rubber roofs on buildings. Makes very good blacktop roads. It's easy to work with, and usually you can find scraps on roofers at a roofer's facility that you can buy at the right price. It has two tunnels and an estuary that comes in and around behind the mountains. Firehouse, churches, the little houses, all these buildings are lighted from internally, and they all have windows added to them so that the light bulb itself doesn't show through the windows. Factory, gas station, general store. Milk can corral out for the milk car. We come over to the train station. The back side of the Seaboard coal loader. I'm in the process of modifying this so it will have two exit chutes, one for rail cars. When it's finished, this will be lever activated. This will be for trucks, and this one would be for the coal cars. So that's in process. Again, when you look at the back side of the oil well, or the oil tank battery, and you can see the valve setups for the individual tanks, and the lines going back to the separator. This layout also has a hump that allows the side dump coal cars to deposit their load in the accumulation bin. This is elevated, as you can see, and again, this is all stuff you can put together from your local hobby shop. There's a big difference in number 23 coal. I found that out the hard way by buying 23 coal off of eBay. Some of it is not the same. The early vintage 23 coal runs through the Seaboard very well. The later model or later style coal will not. It gets hung up in the exit door. Another look at the business end of the bulk loading dock. All the steps in this, as well as the other steps, are made from stick. They're not a purchase step. You got the water tank. And that's sort of a general view of this portion of the layout. It'd be nice to show this with it lit up as if it was night, but that takes a higher resolution camera than I possess, so I tried that, and that doesn't work so well. The control panel, you'll see here, is numerous uncouplers, control buttons, whistles, horns, lighting, 20 switches, water tank, milk car, the whistle control for the 336, and other switches that control lighting. The aircraft beacon that I'm using, we'll zoom in here and check this out. Camera time to stabilize. That is a Lionel that's got the magnet in the top of it. It causes it to rotate. And if you turn this on with full power, those of you that have these, You'll know the shortcoming of that because they go too fast. So on the control panel, you will see a control knob. That's a dimmer switch out of a truck for the headlights and the dash lights. That allows me to reduce the voltage on that tower to slow it down. That works fairly well. Put a little juice on here. Double header going. The dock side got a load of logs he's chasing around the country. The drawbar I made for the front of the 322, fairly heavy material, and I've got a stroke limiter on it so it cannot swing when it's not running double headed. It cannot swing out and get in the rotor switches and the like. So it's got a limited drawbar swing on this engine. I hope that explains a little layout. And as those in modeling know, you're never really finished with layout. There's always something to do. There's much to do on this one yet. Has to have the light poles put up. A lot of details yet that has to be worked out before it's what you might say complete. Thanks for watching. Doc Smith's American Flyer.